Welcome back to What Are We Talking About, a show that's completely fueled by coffee. How's it going? Is that what an intro sounds like?
Sorta. You got like a third of the way there.
A third of the way there? Okay, so what else? This is Mason, as usual, and we're trying to talk about stuff and things. Particularly, I hate this intro stuff. It's Spookie Month! We're talking about spooky things, guys. You're here, you know what's up. See, now would be the time that I would want to bring in, like, the stuff that I was talking about in the previous episode about people emailing us, but we have not received any of those, understandably.
If you listen to this podcast, you are mandated to email at least once by me now. Well, it's been an exhausting week. I feel kind of dead inside.
Yeah? Rehearsals or just...
Yeah, I just feel like I don't have time or motivation to do the things I need or want to do. So, we're on the struggle bus because we're in our 8th month of quarantine.
8th month? Yeah. Is it?
Might be like the 9th. I don't know.
I haven't really been able to keep track anymore, if I'm being honest.
Well, one thing I have been able to find some motivation to do is play video games. And since it's Spooky Month, Spoopy Month, Skeleton Boy Month, I think this game is a great, spooky time month, or is a great spooky time game, because it involves death and murder. So I recently bought Kindergarten and Kindergarten 2, which are currently on sale on the Steam store if you buy them as a bundle.
Hey, we're not sponsored by them.
No, I know, but it's just a fact. And they're a small game. You know what? I'm giving my personal support to this game, and I don't even want their money because the game was good. It was that good. I love little point and click adventure puzzle solving type games. And this game is basically Groundhog Day with dead children.
Groundhog Day?
Yeah, because you replay the same day. The first game is you're playing on Monday, the first day of kindergarten. And the second game you're playing on Tuesday, the first day of kindergarten at your new school. Literally the day after the first game.
Wait, so you're saying that all the events that took place in that first game were all in just one day? And then at the end of the game...
The end day, the last reiteration of the day that I played in the first game is what happened before the second game. Because all the, playthroughs before then were just figuring out the puzzles to get the information and the tools that I needed to eventually defeat the principal. Who's evil!
Yeah, okay. It makes sense.
He literally shot me in the head about 10 to 15 different times throughout my playthrough of the game. And I was playing a kindergartner.
Okay, so death and murder. So what?
There's also a janitor that really likes to kill children. He has a sharpened wooden mop, and he's not at all sneaky or covert about it. In the first game, he's trying to sell these biscuits that you obviously can figure out are made of one of the girl's missing dogs. And you can get a special achievement for feeding her one
I hate that.
And telling her it's vegan.
But how? How do you put meat in a biscuit?
I don't know. And also another thing that carries over from kindergarten to kindergarten 2 is these characters from that first game all transfer to the new school with you, so you get all them and new characters. And one of them is Monty, and he's the guy that you can buy and sell stuff for, kind of like the kid with the little shop. And he points out that the janitor spelled biscuits wrong. It literally says bizcuts. It's not spelled right. And you point that out to him on multiple occasions because you need different things from what happens here. And the janitor goes over and literally handicaps Monty. And so in the second game, he plays in a wheelchair. And yes, that does have to do with the plot.
I've been watching you play these games, but I don't think I've been paying attention to the plot. That's terrible.
Dude, you have to pay more attention to the plot. A lot of it is just overtly oh, I need you to go kill somebody. And the reasons why are super, super selfish, but I'm going to need you to do that.
I'm going to need you to get up in there.
Yeah. I'll try. I don't want to spoil anything for the second game because the first game's puzzles are definitely a bit easier and the second game's puzzles are harder because I still have about 3 more storylines to work through on the second game. And I think I finished the first one in I finished it in 3 or 4 sittings, but you could finish it in 1 or 2. I was just lollygagging around and exhausting dialogue to see what other things, how many different ways I could die in the first one. Because there are a lot of different ways you can fuck up and get killed. Just last night in Kindergarten 2, I accidentally electrocuted myself and then had to restart the entire, day.
I've always found that to be such a strange idea in video games to think about, when you play a video game, your goal isn't... your goal is to win, your goal is to not fuck up, But then, at the same time, especially for a game like this, or what I'm really reminded of, a game like Crash Bandicoot, a game like that, where when someone makes a game like that, I almost feel like 70% of the effort is put into dying or the death animations or the failing and stuff like that. Because there's so many situations where you can fail. Like you said, you were exhausting the dialogue to see what would happen. Well, and also in a game like a Corpse Party or something like that, where there's so many ways that you can fuck up. It's wild to think about how much time these developers put into all these death states and fail states and stuff like that. The idea is that the player would want to come in to do the exact opposite and not try to experience as little of that as possible. Which then, in turn, is why I feel that it's interesting to actually go in and try to exhaust that stuff and go through and try out everything, because there is so much effort that is there. They put so much work and effort into the animations and the writing and all of that, everything, all the programming for all that too. I guess it's good to think that somebody is seeing that hard work, and by hard work I mean disembodiment, but depends on the situation.
Right. I believe one of the artists for Kindergarten and Kindergarten 2 is also one of the artists for Littlewood, which is a new Stardew Valley
it's been on my wish list for a year or so now.
Yeah.
I think it just came out of early access.
Yeah, because Kindergarten 2 came out in 2019.
Thinking about it, that would explain the very coarse nature of a lot of the NPCs in that game, from what I saw in the trailers, because a lot of them seem pretty rude and...
Well, they're kindergartners, and they have...
about Littlewood.
Littlewood. I thought you meant the kindergartners, so I was like, well, they're kindergartners, and they want what they want, and either you help them, or they're fuck off. Yeah, so that's a good spooky time game that's fun and it's not scary. It's just a fun puzzle solving with child murder, which is kind of hilarious, honestly. And just in the way that the art style is super basic and really cute. That's really what I had to bring in today was...
Well, okay.
Also, the adults are terrible in that game, so it fits with our thesis on scary movies and the scary movie world. Is now the time for the ad break?
The short circuits in my brain are saying so. Calling all gamers, Crash Bandicoot has been stranded once again on an island, and he needs your help to fight Dr. Robotnik and kill his sister. So, go help him. Okay, so jumping straight into the thing that I wanted to talk about today. Today, I'm talking about horror-themed escape rooms. Okay. Not just regular escape rooms, but ones specifically made to scare the ever-living shit out of you.
I've done one that's, scary-themed, I guess.
But, have you done the official Saw escape room?
That exists?
Yeah.
Why did that? Nobody told me there was an official. It's endorsed?
It says the official.
The official.
It is in Las Vegas.
I got a lot of questions about it being official, but continue.
They got a puppet and everything. Look at that.
Well, you can get a puppet. Can I watch the...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Before I even watch the rest of this trailer, it is from the official Lionsgate YouTube channel. So
Okay.
this is actually endorsed and an official Saw escape room.
Okay.
That answers that question.
It's legit, folks. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Does this thing still, like, can I still go to? I mean, probably not right now. Wow, so it's still open.
I mean, it's in small groups. I would assume that they just wipe everything down
Yeah.
in between.
I will say I am thoroughly impressed with how accurate it is to the different sets of certain Saw movies and traps. Like,
I mean,
that's really impressive, and I'm,
to think about
excited.
And I mean, it's nothing against any of the stuff I've seen around here, but the only escape rooms that I've personally experienced are, well, the ones here, which I mean, like, they're not bad or anything. It's just a bunch of small rooms that they turn into their own unique puzzles. Like, they don't really have the space to work with that.
It's more of an actual escape a room. This is more like escape a huge freaking building,
Compound.
Series of rooms.
God.
Like the whole entire plot of Saw 2 and 3 and 5. That's what it looks like, at least to me. I could be wrong on that.
Okay, there's another one here called The Basement that's in LA, and apparently it was so highly acclaimed that the people named their business after it. They're just called The Basement now, I think.
Wow.
You and your group have been kidnapped by serial killer Edward Tandy. You'll need to prove to him that you are worthy of escaping his twisted basement if you want to survive. It's intended to be on the difficult side and quite intense, so you'd better bring your A game for this room. Let me pull this up. I'm curious now.
Oh, it was on an episode of The Bachelorette.
Gross. Weird.
Gross. Hey, if I was gonna be The Bachelorette, I'd be making the men do this.
Okay, well, that's less gross, but The Bachelorette itself...
Oh, yeah, The Bachelorette itself is disgusting. Same for The Bachelor.
I mean, I gotta cut all this out because of all the shit in the background anyway, but... 2 minutes left! That's me. Why do you let him record that before murdering him?
I don't know.
Did he upload it himself?
Probably.
I mean, the people have to know at least what they're doing for it to be fun for him, I guess.
And it could also be like a power move, like, I'm gonna show you a survivor that I killed, and even he knew what to do and he still couldn't make it.
Yikes.
You know, I also would like to propose movie episode before the month of October ends, do something spooky.
Yeah, for sure, we should do that. I really enjoyed,
I mean, I'll figure out what it'll be later. I'll figure it out, because if I let Mason choose, I don't think it'll be that scary.
You don't know me.
Although maybe I should make you finish Tusk. I don't know. We'll see.
What else do we got here? Because there's a list of 6 of them. Okay, the Asylum, which is a creepy clown one. We don't do that here. We don't do clowns here. Zoe. This one's just called Zoe.
You don't do clowns? Not at all? Like, I mean, they freak me out, but, like, I love a good scare, so.
I mean, as of now, we haven't done clowns yet, so for now, yeah, I will say we don't do clowns here.
Growing up, the local amusement park, which was...
Aubrey, are you sure? As soon as you jump into the story, we are officially a clown-related podcast. Are you ready for that? For that responsibility? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna get in all the juggalos. It'll be fine.
Oh, we already did that.
No, yeah, we already did, for sure. So back in the day when I was 13, 14, and, like, I did this all the way until I left for college, probably every year. We'd go to the local amusement park around Halloween time. The whole month of October, Worlds of Fun would turn their park into, like, spooky shit at night. And there were a bunch of haunted houses that they, like, turned these buildings into, like, amazing haunted houses. But there were also certain areas of the park that you could walk through, and some of them you kind of had to walk through to get to other areas of the park that were just free-for-all zones where they had, like, 10 to 15 people, costumed actors stationed to just roam that area and scare the shit out of people.
That sounds awful.
One of those zones was completely clown related. It was like all rundown circus themed, so many freaky clowns. But my favorite was this one girl clown had this puppet that attached to her feet, and then she had like some marionette stuff with the arms, and it was a little baby clown that could like jump out at you.
Extra hate that. How old were you when you into this?
The first time I was probably 11 or 12, and I was so freaked out. I was a big old baby, wanted to piss my pants. I'd walk, like, my parents always loved going to haunted houses and stuff. Like, my mom has gone to all of the big original downtown KC ones, like The Edge of Hell, and, what's the one with the werewolves? That one's a big one too.
The London one?
No, it's a big building in The Beast. That's what it's called.
The Bees.
The Edge of Hell and The Beast are like two of the oldest, biggest ones. They've been around forever. But so my mom would take us. We had Worlds of Fun season passes a lot, and they'd take us out there, and she'd still make me go through them, but she'd like hide me under her coat. But after a year of that, you go into the next year like, okay, I can do this, and it started getting. It was like a adrenaline high for me, like going through these haunted houses. I loved it. I would make my friends go do it with me, and they fucking hated it.
Once again, how old were you?
This is from ages like 13 to like 17.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we used to take my mom, since she's a teacher of the deaf, we would take some of her deaf students would go on like a trip, and it'd be all of them and her, and then she'd bring me along as well and go through all the haunted houses.
See, that's such an interesting... I guess there is some obsession that, like, the human brain has with doing something that's purposefully scary.
Something that's... it's like jumping off a building. Adrenaline rush. Bungee jumping.
You know, there is a level of safety that you know you have, like with bungee jumping. Or like with an escape room. You know that the door's not actually locked.
I will say... World of Fun has the rule that, like, their actors aren't allowed to touch you. They can get as close to you as to not touch you, but they can't touch you.
This is a social distancing amusement park.
I know that at the Beast, you've got to sign a waiver because I'm pretty sure they are allowed to touch you. They can't hurt you, but they can, like, pick you up or freak you out, you know, and, like, grab you.
How many people we got going to something like that nowadays?
I think they have new rules for that stuff, because I was literally just looking at the ones in KC, and I had this discussion with my mom. I was like, I wonder if they're going to be open, and she was like, no, I'm sure they will. Let's see. Edge of Hell, their website comes up first. Oh, the Edge of Hell made it into the Guinness Book of World Records in 2013. They also are a proud platinum donor to the Don't Be a Monster anti-bullying nonprofit. So that's great. I love that. There's all these, like, people that love to scare the shit out of people that are also like, bullying is bad. We're going to donate a lot of money to that. But also we're going to bully live adults for fun because they're paying us to.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally asking for you to do that to them.
Literally asking to be bullied.
But no, I mean, I guess you sort of got to the point of that before I did. I guess the reason for these things is because people like adrenaline rushes. Like, it's... And I guess we've all got our own way. As a kid, like, I never had any understanding of why somebody would want to purposefully scare themselves for no reason. Why that was a thing that anybody wanted to do to themselves. But, you know, I was a wuss, and I also didn't really understand the capabilities that adrenaline has on your body. Because straight up, part of the reason I wanted to look this up, Aubrey, is because... there was one time that I remember I was in high school and some people in our community in Mountain Home made like a Saw escape room as their haunted house for the year, and they rented out like an old building for it and like everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember standing in line for that with a bunch of friends and then chickening out at the last moment after hearing so many people's like stories from it as they were leaving. I was like, man, I know that I'm not going to be able to do this, and I'm definitely going to let my friends down, so I'm just going to pass. I really was that much of a... This was in high school.
Dang. We also have one called the Chambers of Poe that's like kind of Edgar Allan Poe themed.
I'm surprised you're not yelling at me right now because I said that I skipped out on a Saw-themed escape
I'm not
room
surprised by that. Like, I'd be yelling at you if it was me, but I understand that not a lot of people enjoy the same things I do.
Has anyone ever died in an escape room? Okay, oh god, I found a news report. Nope, not reading that. One gruesome explanation later.
Oh, that one's not fun.
It's not fun.
That's not fun.
It's in Poland.
That's not like a fun one, like, oh, somebody did something dumb in the escape room. No, that one's just arson.
Someone committed an arson. Hey, but apparently that's the only that was the first reported. That was last year or two. So escape rooms less lethal than you would expect.
Yeah. I'm curious. Sorry, I'm looking up for some walkthroughs of this Saw one. Oh, yeah. It's even like in Dead by Daylight, the Saw map is the meatpacking plant.
The meatpacking plant.
Starting on the arrival at the venue, the scenic value kicks in immediately. Instead of an escape room company logo on the building, we approach a large warehouse area branded as Egan & Co. Meatpacking Plant. Our tour of the plant moves through 6 distinct parts, each with their own unique set designs. There's a break room of sorts, filled with half-eaten food and trash all over. This is the beginning of the twisted world we are about to enter. You move through the break room into the locker room, where things take a dark tone very quickly. Lockers are busted up, belongings scattered around. It's hard to figure out what's part of the game or part of the background. All of this foreshadows what lies ahead. The meat processing room is where we first encounter our host of the tour, Jigsaw. After setting up a creepy monologue about our peril, the game begins in a dark, dirty, bloody, and disturbing pig processing room. Hogs hanging from the ceiling and large metal hooks. Meat grinders filled with various parts leading to assembly lines, and a big freezer to round out the space. This room itself could pass off as a floor space for a small escape game, but there is much more to come. Moving from room to room, the scenic quality maintains expectations throughout. Fans of the movie series will recognize these rooms and set features along the way. In total, there are 6 separate creepy zones, each as disturbing as the next. The next is the furnace, to the bathroom, to the underground tunnel system. Each room pushes the limit of set design for a twisted game. This comes from theescapeauthority.com. I assume they do escape room reviews.
Escape room reviews.
It says that the puzzles are the biggest downfall of the Saw escape. They are lackluster. The set design has such a high value, you wouldn't expect the puzzles to be as high a quality.
Well, I mean, what do we mean by this? Is it in theming or just in quality? Because, like, I can understand if they couldn't really match things theming-wise, considering how most of the puzzles lay themselves out in Saw. I mean, I don't know if you could really recreate the puzzles in the same sort of way without, endangering the players. Which, that is part of why I wanted to bring up escape rooms, because I think that it is such an awesome thing that we have in this day and age, that there is just a place that you can go around in our cities and our towns where you can go and just, ask someone to lock you in a room so you can do some puzzles for them. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I guess it makes sense because, there's karaoke places and piano bars and all sorts of things. But when you think about it, you really need a specific kind of venue owner to have an escape room because you're coming up with puzzles and shit for people to come solve.
Yeah.
I just feel with an escape room, you're really diving, much further into, the owner of every escape room, has to put a little bit of themselves into it. I just feel like it's so much more on a different level from just creating a nice room, a nice atmosphere, kind of like what this Saw one is. It's so much more about actually making something that looks nice and is equally as hard to solve.
Yeah.
Because
But, I mean, granted, there's also going to be, difficulties with technology. I've had that come up with doing an escape room. Sometimes things just don't work the way they're supposed to work, and that can make people think that something was shitty, when really, if it worked right, you would have thought it was fucking magic. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I had to say on escape rooms. Haunted house-wise, though, one of my favorite haunted houses that doesn't exist at Worlds of Fun anymore was a abandoned doll factory. It's been turned into a wax museum one now. They might have changed it since then, because I haven't been back in a couple of years. But I doubt it, because the doll factory one was there forever, and then, I want to say 2016, they chucked it.
Dude, seriously, I hate it. Anytime I hear about a wax museum,
they're freaky, and I low-key really love them.
Well, but I saw that movie House of Wax.
Ugh!
a long ass time ago when it came out.
Is it Paris Hilton in that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is. Yeah. At the beginning of the movie, her boyfriend, she sucks her boyfriend's dick while they're driving like alongside the road of the other group of friends. I don't know what it was like. Some real exhibitionist shit. It was weird. Either way, though, every time I hear of a wax museum now, because of that movie, I just think of that person who got their hamstrings cut by a pair of scissors. And that's really it. That's all I remember from that movie, and it just makes me want to cry every time.
Yeah.
Anyway, haunted houses. Funny enough, considering the kind of person I am, you'd be surprised. I actually went through a lot of haunted houses growing up. As a kid, because my parents would make me do that with them. But honestly, I was never really all that scared, because a lot of the time, like, as I was walking through a haunted house, like, every single person that I saw, I guess it didn't help that in Mountain Home, you know who everybody is in town, like, because you would go through the haunted house, the one, especially the one that the college would put on every year, and you would, you would be scared for a moment when someone showed up, but then you know exactly who it is behind almost every single mask because you know who everyone is. So it's not really that scary.
Yeah, there is a girl I knew that worked in the zombie high school themed haunted house that Worlds of Fun had. And so that was always fun to see her in there. Because she played a dead band geek, and ironically, in high school, she was also in the marching band. So it was very fitting.
Oh, I remember we also, the band used to do a haunted trails thing, and that used to be a thing where the drum line, which I used to be on in junior high and high school, part of high school, is the drum line would be the group of kids that would like run around and try to scare people on that haunted trail.
Yeah.
I quit the year before I got to do that, but...
I was gonna say, are you any good at that, or?
I don't know. It had some weird hazing vibes, which kind of, like, put me off of it, but,
Weird hazing vibes.
Well, because specifically the people they would want to scare were the new people, so...
Well, yeah. Easy targets.
Yeah, but listen, it's not quite such a thing in... Like, it's all good and fun in this setting, but I feel like that kind of, like, breeds for people to be okay with the other things that people tend to, like, I don't know, that just kind of, like, I feel like opens the door to worse hazing.
For sure.
It's so weird, isn't it?
I don't know. Hazing is a weird topic because, like, I'm doing a play right now where the girls in the play are, like, the characters are in a sorority. And one of the other actors, she's in a sorority, and so she's kind of been our knowledge of this world because I've never been in a sorority, never wanted to be in a sorority, so I don't know much about the inner workings, but, like, honestly, it's kind of hard to learn stuff because everything's a secret for some reason because of, like, tradition and, like, being in this fucking cult you pay to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's always something like that, too.
Yeah, I don't know, like...
The only thing that I really have to say about hazing is that, coming from the perspective of a queer man, hazing is probably about the gayest thing I've ever seen straight men ever do, and I just don't understand
Well, the wildest thing is, like, there's really few Greek sororities or fraternities that, like, are actually no hazing organizations because, like, from what I've been learning with, like, doing research for this play and everything, because hazing is something they bring up, like, they're like, oh, we're gonna make the pledges lives hell and stuff, so we talked about it, and, like, there are definitely a lot of sororities that still do that, and, like, I always kind of thought it was a fraternity thing, but no, apparently the women still do it too.
I mean, I'm not
and I'm
surprised.
like, great.
I mean,
great.
The issue is that every single year, the new ones get picked on. So no matter what, whenever the new ones become the people in charge, they're gonna want to do the picking because they had it happen to them. It's just a vicious cycle. it never ends because everybody's getting bullied and then feels like they need to be justified
not to mention to
do it themselves.
The whole process of getting in is a way to bully people as well, because like you see I see these videos all the time on Facebook and TikTok around whenever bid day and rush is, and these girls getting their envelopes where it says what sorority they got into. There are girls that get those envelopes that say none of the sororities you chose wanted you. Like, it happens every year, but nobody talks about it. And I'm like, can you imagine how it must feel to have worked so hard and for weeks and weeks and weeks schmoozed these girls and done so much social work.
Not to mention spent money on the applications too.
Yeah, as well as all the fucking t-shirts they make you wear and shit, and follow all their stupid rules. And then you put down 3 different sororities you'd want to join, and not a single one even wants you because, you're not thin enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not white enough. That's a huge problem too. Have you ever noticed, the extremely small amount of women of color in sororities? It's because, oh my god, they're fucking racist organizations.
Well, it's elitist bullshit, and
I understand there are going to be people that are offended by us saying this. I get this a lot because this has been my opinion for a long time. There are definitely benefits to joining, a Greek sorority or Greek fraternity because yes, it is going to give you more employment opportunities and give you connections that you wouldn't have had otherwise. But also you have to think about how exclusive and elitist the idea as a whole is, and think about the people that do not have any opportunity to be in that organization. It's not about the fact that we're bullying the people in the organization. We're just saying, you need to be more aware of the privilege you have and the privilege you don't even know about.
And sure, not all sororities or fraternities are like that, but
That's the same as saying not all men. It's a ridiculous argument.
And on top of that, people use that as their main go-to argument, but at the same time, it's 10-90.
Right.
There are so few sorority or fraternities out there that aren't the main ones because the whole point of it is that they're all the same.
Right. And, if you are in one of these good Greek organizations that, has anti-hazing and anti-discrimination policies in place, you should be doing something about it. If your organization realizes this a problem, why are you not telling the other organizations or trying to make a difference?
Well,
and if you're in one of these organizations that is a problem and you're not doing anything about it, then you have no right to be mad about our opinion. Because you're part of the freaking problem.
Well,
you just have to think about how other people feel and about how other people have to live their life for 5 seconds to understand. And this isn't coming from a place of hate. Please know that. It's just a matter of I've seen so many people wronged and hurt by these organizations that I don't want to see this happen for years and years and years to come.
We want those things, but the reason that they're still in place is because of all the rich mommies and daddies that pay for the university.
Right, and that's why I kind of think we should just get rid of them as a whole, because, the history they're rooted in is not something to be proud of.
And they just continue to, push horrible, awful-natured culture onto these impressionable kids that are trying to grow and learn more about themselves.
Yeah.
And instead of learning more about themselves, they're learning how they need to be more like others.
Yeah.
And how to fit into society.
And that's something I'm seeing in this play that I'm doing. The play is Vanities as well, if anyone is curious. It's interesting to see how these women in college, their personal growth and personal freedoms are almost halted because of being in this sorority, and they don't realize it. It's just they're placing importance on things that don't really matter. And my character kind of says that too. We can't keep cramming girls into an image, and I'm not so sure it's important for girls to be good girls, and there's too many rules, which is interesting to see that. I'm sure there are a lot of women in these organizations that feel that way. I just, this is us encouraging you to speak up.
I mean, hey, there are a lot of negative aspects to the current situation we live in our world, where everyone's connected via the internet, and nothing is a secret anymore.
Oh yeah,
which sucks. But at the same time, we've seen the positive effects of that. Whereas, if you want to speak up about something, people will listen to you because literally you are connected to everyone on the internet at all times.
And there's easier ways to hold people accountable for their actions as well. Not saying in no way do we support cancel culture, but this has brought about being responsible for the choices you've made. And that's important because growing up, since like I was a child of the Facebook era, and that was kind of our first big social media after MySpace. You know, by that time, since we had MySpace, we had the whole, like, don't put things on the internet or they'll be there forever. But I almost feel like we've forgotten that sometimes. Like, it's weird. It was so much of a fear about whatever you write and post on the internet will be there forever when I was a kid. And now, as an adult, seeing the way it has changed, like, with the mindset of younger people.
Yeah, well, adults don't care about what they put on the internet because they think that nothing will affect them.
But now it will.
But I feel like the issue as a kid is whenever we were told those things, it was specifically about, like, don't post about yourself drinking as a minor, or don't post, like, nude photos of yourself or anything like that.
I guess from my perspective, like, I was told, don't post a bunch of, like, from my parents, it came from, like, an image thing. Like, you don't want an employer to see that you curse all the time on your Facebook, or that write mean things, or that you have certain opinions. And in a way, yes, there are, like, I post my opinion all over social media all the time because I want to speak out about things that I feel are unjust or things I want to be heard. And so I think that we have moved away from it in a positive way, but I just think that we also still need to remember accountability. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on a real off topic, but what are we talking about?
That's what we do.
What are we talking about? Accountability and respect.
That's the theme of what's spooky this time. Responsibility.
Right? At first, it was the responsibility of your choices to kill other kindergartners in a fun, lighthearted video game, and now it's about your choices in life and what you decide to say.
And how you choose to affect others and the world around you.
The more you know. Can we get the sound there?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
It's definitely what's going to play there.
Oh, man!
Anyway, I have about expended what any of the mental juice that I came in with today, so...
I have as well as I have to watch a lecture, so...
Oh, gross. Yeah, well, how's about we go ahead and wrap it up then?
Sounds just peachy.
This has been...
What are we talking about?
We'll hit you up next time with a guest.
Also, send us a motherfucking email, yo.
Please send us emails. That's WAWTA mail69@gmail.com.
We'll read your name on the podcast, or we won't if you don't want that, but specify that in your email, because otherwise we will.
We'll read your thoughts on the podcast.
Yeah, like give us something. We'll talk about it. Probably.
Please. We're dying here.
Okay, I'll go.